The meeting is about to start. Please quiet down. Ready? Yeah, okay. Are we ready? Okay. Welcome to the City of Palatka City Commission meeting. It is May 28th, 2026, and it's 6 p.m., and I'm calling this meeting to order, beginning with the invocation led by Commissioner Campbell, and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Warren. Please stand if you're able.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. God, we ask as we go throughout this meeting that you give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to make sound decisions to move this city forward. We ask that you bless every resident, not only represented in the city, but this county. We pray these prayers and all other prayers in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Warren?
Present.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Campbell?
Present.
Commissioner Davis?
Present.
Mayor Carrera?
Present. We have quorum, thank you. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from May 14th, 2026, commission meeting, May 20th, 2026, workshop minutes, May 21st, 2026, special call meeting?
Motion to approve minutes as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to public recognition presentations. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. No action taken on these items. In the spotlight, Employee of the Month, Ms. Jones.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. As we continue to recognize our employees for outstanding performance, either over a period of time or for a particular month, we just want to continue doing that, as well as we're recognizing the people that take the time and nominate these employees for observing their performance. And for the month of May, we would like to recognize our DOC crew supervisor, Mr. Bill Hamby.
Harold Bartell, City of Palatka Code Compliance. Code Enforcement Group, we nominate Mr. Hamby. The city is a big area. Not all the time can we be there and everywhere needed. So sometimes we overlook stuff gets overlooked. Unfortunately, we call Mr. Hamby and his crew. We recently had a area over off of Hudson and Westover behind the Arc, Glance Street, that was well overgrown. It was a 2-lane road that you couldn't get one car down. The trees were overgrown, you couldn't see the curves. We got a hold of Public Works, they worked great with us and hooked us up with Mr. Hamby and his crew. They was out there, I know, for at least 2 days, cleaning it up, and did an outstanding job. And just wanted to say thank you for the work you do, and we appreciate it. The city is better off with him running the crew, and he's always out there looking better, making the city look better, and here for the city. We appreciate his help and all he does.
Thank you.
You want to take him a picture?
Thank you for tackling that, because I have received a couple of calls on that area. Bamboo, it looked like a lot of bamboo. Yeah, I saw the pictures. Thank you. Newtown Museum presentation by Mr. Terrell Hill.
Mayor, Commissioners, Chief Manager, just wanted to come before you guys today to give you an update. If you recall, the City of Palatka received a African American Heritage Grant from the state of Florida in the amount of $690,000 with an additional $310,000 in ARPA funds, which were initially given to renovate the Jenkins Gymnasium, which was once the Northside Neighborhood Facility Center. As a part of that, we did a series of events, including visioning sessions, and during the course of those events and the community meetings, it was tasked upon us as citizens to put together a steering committee to bring forth a plan and a memorandum of understanding back to the commission in order to make the dream a reality. And so today we stand before you as Palatka Newtown, Inc., the nonprofit organization that was formed as part of the steering committee to make this a reality. And we have members here along with our chair, Audrey Wise Davis. Will y'all please stand for me? So we have been meeting. Thank you. We've been meeting tirelessly for the last few years to make sure that we were able to put forth a product that would be something that would be beneficial to the city and the citizens as we began to highlight the history, which was the purpose of the grant, to highlight the history of our community, particularly our African-American history, which was the focus of the grant that came into play from the state of Florida. Mr. Eddie Cutright, who is the Community Affairs Director, along with Reno Phelps, have worked diligently with us, and we definitely appreciate the efforts that the city has put forth. There have been commissioners who have been present throughout the process. And what we have for you today is just a breakdown of where we are. First, the purpose and the scope was to outline collaborations between the city and Palatka Newtown, Inc., and to support the operations of Newtown Museum and Cultural Arts Center, and focus on programming, promotion, community engagement, and museum operations. And this includes the compensation, termination, records, insurance, compliance, and all the other aspects of the contract. I've got one. Additionally, the responsibilities of Palatka Newtown, Inc. Are going to be the critical pieces as we started talking about this. I wanted to outline what this MOU does. And we're going to manage the day-to-day operations and staffing, coordinate events, exhibits, educational tours, handle fundraising, promotional activities, develop donor and engagement, and maintain donor records, create operational policies, and collaborate with the City Community Affairs Department. And these are all the things that we want under direction. Next slide. The city will provide the museum facility, which is in the Robert H. Jenkins Gymnasium. It's been outlined in a lot of the maps that you guys have seen, the presentations that Mr. Cutright did as well, that the old locker room areas would be the areas used for the museum itself, and they would be converted over. We would support any museum branding and accessibility from the city side of this, cover the utilities which are already built into this entire project, and then we would provide, and then the city would also provide $25,000 in their annual budget in support, and I'll get into that in a second. Next slide. The city would also receive 10% of any donations or museum fundraising that comes from Palatka Newtown. Any restricted grants or processing fees would be excluded from that, but those would all be things that would be collaborative throughout the process. Additional co-sponsored events are allowed by the agreement, and whatever profit sharing percentages we wanted to put together with the city, it will be done through mutual understanding and mutual assent. And then we get back, there's at least the $25,000. Now, the beauty of this $25,000 is far different than what we're getting from any of your other agreements that you have. And I'll go at the end and I'll talk to you about how the $25,000 allocation is different from what you had before. And then you'll receive quarterly financial reports from remittance as required. Next slide. Then compensation and financial management. The city funding supports the outlined MOU. I don't see it as any budget restraints associated with this, because there have been conversation by the commission as a whole to talk about bringing in a part-time allocation to deal specifically with the museum in itself. And that's been historically the conversation that's been in place. Newtown must submit new invoices and activities. The museum-related funds should be tracked separately. The city has the right to audit and review at any time, and the records must be retained for at least 7 years according to state law. Next slide. In terms of renewal, this is a 5-year agreement, and we put down July 1st as the starting point of that agreement. It can start whenever the city wants to start it, and it would go, for example, if it started July 1st, it would end on June 30th of 2021. It has a renewable term, no differently than any of the other agreements that you have in place, and the renewals must be in writing, and it has to be at least 60 days before expiration. Next slide. Termination clauses are same, 60 days written notice. If there's any material breach in contract, there's a 30-day cure period, and Newtown must conclude operations in an orderly manner. Final reports and payments are due upon termination. Each party must return property and confidential information. I'd ask for leave to continue. Next slide. Insurance and compliance, we have the limits set inside of the draft Those limits can be set as to how the commission wants them to be. Right now, it's set at a 100, 300 policy. It can be larger if the city so is inclined to do so. And each party is responsible for their own negligent acts, and sovereign immunity will still apply to the city. Next slide. Intellectual property rights will be owned by the existing owner. Newtown will be responsible for exhibit permissions, meaning we would actually be the ones who would go out and get all of the compliance records and all of the permissions for exhibits that are donated to the museum. The parties must comply with public records requests and open meeting laws. Disputes will be resolved in good faith first, and then Newtown has a right of first refusal on museum records or exhibits if the city so is inclined at any point to stop having the museum in place. Next slide. So this is where we get into the $25,000. And so if you remember, the River Center was an agreement that the city had, started back in 2015. And in that agreement, the city agreed to fund an employee when Georgia Pacific created the River Center, the St. John's River Center. The city staffed that project, maintained the project, did all the repairs, and there was no revenue component as related to that project. Also, if you look at the ship store, the water taxi contract was one where the city maintains the facilities, allocates the funding in place. It was initially $45,000. It's now significantly higher. And again, there's no profit sharing aspect. When you go into the unique phase, you look at the golf course. The golf course's franchise agreement is probably the closest thing to what we have here, where you have a profit sharing aspect that goes along with this contract. And the city does not staff the actual facility, but the entity that runs it is actually the one that maintains the facility. And so when we look at what's in place as it relates to the golf course and this, the difference is we are actually doing a major fundraising activity as a means of offsetting whatever the costs are. So if the city decides that the major fundraising activity is going to be a gala, for instance, and we raise $30,000 at the gala, then the $25,000 goes to the initial funding of $25,000 to offset any cost that the city has, and the remaining $5,000 split 50-50 between the two organizations. There's not an agreement that the city has in place with any facility, with any operator that does this. And that's on top of any additional funding that comes in throughout the year. You also have the ability to continuously do events on a monthly basis or whatever basis that you decide to do in order to offset any budget allocations that you may have in place. And that's the part that separates us in this agreement from any other. Next slide. Your project leads have been the Community Affairs Director, as well as our Chair, Audrey Wise Davis. This MOU is governed by Florida law and the City of Palatka's codes and ordinances, and Putnam County would be the forum. Are there any questions?
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Hill? Go ahead.
Assuming all of this moves forward, what is the target start date for the museum? Or what are the steps that have to be put in place?
The only thing that has to be done next is the build-out. Once the build-out's done, then we're able to move forward. As the build-out is done, the design of any exhibits that are in place based upon what budget allocations are projected at this point through the conversations with the past manager, we would have those design aspects in place, and we could be up and running, I would say, within the next 90 days, if that was where we are.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? No? No?
I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
I would like to just thank the committee for all the work they've done in putting this together. I know it's been a long time making. This is a great presentation. It definitely answers my questions, because my question before was, what is the ask for the city? And I think you did a good job in presenting that today. So thank you guys for the hard work you've done to get to this point.
And in closing, we took the charge that the commission gave us. We moved forward in creating the entities necessary to make this a reality. And I wholeheartedly believe that we are the sole source within this community, within this state, that can actually bring forth this product and actually allows Palatka to start to really bring visitors in, to actually educate our students and our citizens, and create a place where our history is memorialized in ways that it's never been done before. The Historic Society does a great job with the museum at the Bronson Mulholland House, but this is a different creature. And so we think that working collaboratively, again, with other organizations and entities, as well as the school district and some of our other partners throughout this area, that we can make this a showplace for for the city of Palatka. And again, we thank you for the opportunity to partner and to make this a reality.
One more question, Mr.
Go
Hill.
ahead.
As I look at the ask up there, and you mentioned that this is like unique, like a franchise at the the golf course, and they do their own staffing. You mentioned about staffing, and that's one of the asks you have for the city. Is that included in the 25,000 that you're asking for allocation?
The 25,000, Palatka Newtown will staff the museum. We'll coordinate the hours. We'll do all of that. The city staff does not have to do anything based upon the MOU.
So that's included. You
In
guys
the
covering
ask.
that with the 25?
Right. It's all outlined inside of the MOU. And again, the MOU is a draft. If there are any areas that the commission has any other suggestions or modifications to, there's definitely opportunity to work on those.
Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
Right. So what I thought I understood was that if you had like an event that raised funds, an example would be, say, if you made 30,000 on the special event or whatever, then would that relieve the city of the 25,000? Okay, so I mean,
So-
and that's what I love about the creativity and how y'all put that together, bringing that to the city, because that certainly adds value to the partnership.
And the whole plan is that if we maximize efforts in how we market the facility, then the offset in itself will create a revenue-producing asset for the city as well as the community as a whole, and take away the burden of any financial responsibility.
Certainly appreciate that. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Hill. Next, on to the History of Palatka book release, Mr. Lennon.
I'm sorry, before we move on.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I ask, thank you for the presentation, but what are our next steps to review the MOU and determine if we will move forward with the agreement? I'd like to make sure I
Ms.
understand
West?
where we're going from here.
Yes, I have actually already reviewed the MOU and provided feedback that has been communicated.
So it would be, if you can send it to all of us, that would be great. Thank you. Go ahead. Ms.
So when you
Commissioner.
say that you've communicated feedback and have received feedback, I'm not sure what that means.
I have communicated feedback to our Community Affairs Director, Mr. Eddie Cutright, and I believe he's been in communication with Mr. Hill. So I have provided feedback on the MOU, and happy to, yes,
No, I'm going to wait till you finish, but then I have a follow-up.
and happy to forward this to the commissioners.
Okay. So, Mr. Hill, I just wanted to understand, since you're back at the mic, you've been in touch with Mr. Cutright to review that feedback?
I have. I didn't know there was a ghostwriter. What I will say is that I think that it's incumbent upon the commission to either provide a liaison or some direction to staff so that when negotiates, because my response to any communication at this point has been the commission has not given anyone responsibility to negotiate. And until someone has that responsibility from the commission, it makes it difficult to start to address certain aspects of what's in place. So my desire is that the commission would either have a liaison, direct the manager or whomever, or council or whoever it may be, to negotiate and bring back a final draft so that the sentiments of the commission are given to me, so that we can put this thing together, and so that when it comes back to you in final draft form, it has all of the desires that the commission has, as well as the spirit of what this facility was supposed to be at the time in which the grant was brought in place.
Commissioner Campbell?
I don't have to rehash. Attorney Hill actually mentioned what I was going to make reference to in the latter part of his comment. So I think it's becoming of us to come up with how we want to facilitate that MOU component, because essentially my thought process is the MOU is a part of the day-to-day operation. However, the financial component is something that the commission would have to vote on in its entirety. So again, I don't want us to overstep our boundaries with regards to the MOU, which our legal has been doing. But again, the final number that comes back to us being that it is over that $25,000 threshold would have to be approved by the commission.
Thank you.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
suggestion. So we're in the process of getting an interim in interim city manager, and as you said, day-to-day operation, that would fall under that person's duties and responsibility versus having the attorney do double roles. I think that it would be incumbent on allowing the city manager, who already, our ex-city manager was already involved with this process. Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is a contract with this would be a contract or an agreement with an entity. It's well within the purview of the commission to make those decisions or delegate someone to bring that back so that it's ratified by the commission at the end of that process. Because it's a contract, no differently than it was with the ship store, no differently than it was with your dollar leases that you approve on a regular basis. All those things are tasks that the commission has to be able to ratify. It has to come before the commission. The staff cannot engage into this contract without the commission.
Right. But as a liaison, I would prefer the city manager to take that role. So that's just my personal opinion up here. Commission.
Commissioner Davis, and then,
So just feedback and make sure I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Jones. While we are in the process of hiring an interim city manager, we have an acting city manager. So, I just want to make sure we're not holding up the business of the city until we get through that process, if that is what you're recommending. So that's the first thing I want to say. But the second thing I want to say is that I would like to see this move forward expeditiously. We've been dealing with this for a while now. So regardless as to whether we identify a commissioner who is a liaison or the city attorney continues with the MOU, at some point, this has to come as an agenda item for us to vote on. And I want to make sure I understand what we need to vote on this is an MOU that we've agreed upon, or at least that the entity has provided feedback on, and that we provided feedback on, which, if I'm understanding correctly, Mr. Hill is suggesting that we have a liaison so that we can get that ready to bring to a commission for vote and to vote on the $25,000 ask. Am I understanding that correctly? Is that what we need to make a decision, Mayor?
that's my interpretation of everything that was said.
So then my question is, what do we need to get there? Do we need to appoint someone to be that liaison for the commission, or can we get that done with current staff and get it, and I hope, on the next agenda, the agenda for the next meeting? That's a question.
And it seems like a reasonable one, and one that we should be able to accomplish. It doesn't, again, as you stated, this has been going back and forth for a while, so I think we need to come to some consensus and conclusion on this so it can move forward and happen. Commissioner Barlow.
So, yes, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Davis as it relates to that. It's already in the pipeline, and there's no sense in the continuous moving it forward and waiting until we get city manager in place. So my recommendation would be to have our current acting interim city manager to be able to facilitate that. And generally, if you're going to have that, you would have legal involved as it relates to the contract itself. So he can, our current acting city manager can give direction to the city council. Our current attorney, city attorney, to be able to carry that out. And so that's, I think, what Mr. Hill is asking for. And that's what I would like to move forward, asking that our acting city manager ask our city attorney to continue to move this thing forward. That would be my request.
So that we can move this forward, let me ask Attorney Hill, just for a point of clarification, would you desire a commissioner to serve as a point of liaison, or are you comfortable with our legal and acting city manager carrying out the administrative component of the MOU, and I say that because if not, I am ready to make a motion either way. But I just want to go ahead and kind of get where you stand, because it wasn't quite, it was put there, but I want us to be on the same page. If that is your desire and the desire of the committee, let's go ahead and make it known now so that we can go ahead and move forward.
My desire, I can work with anybody as it relates to this. I think it's a win for the city. Right now, the state of Florida has already identified St. Augustine as the home for the state of Florida's Black History Museum. This is the perfect time for us to move forward. I've worked with Chief in the past. I've worked with Ms. West on the Charter Review Committee. I can work with whomever. The one thing that I don't want to do is work with staff and the commission have some concerns that need to be addressed inside of what we have, and we come back here and we spend a bunch of time going over things that we could have had brought to the forefront from the beginning. So I would just love to have the commission provide its input to staff if that's what we're going to do.
You were going to say something because I'm ready to make a motion. I'll make a motion that we identify a commissioner that is willing to serve as a liaison with reference to working along with staff, our acting city manager and legal department to facilitate a conversation and dialogue to help move the creation of the finalization of the MOU forward so that we can move this project along.
Well, I make,
Go ahead.
There's a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second.
There can be a second for discussion or the second for a vote.
Is there a second? for
A
discussion?
second.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
I was just gonna name one. I was gonna say,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Public comment.
Okay. All in favor?
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to open the floor to public comment. Is anybody here for public comment on this? Come on, Ms. Kitchens, please, and fill out the card afterward.
Illegal Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. I think this museum's a splendid idea, and I hope it's up and running even before the state of Florida one in St. Johns County is. That being said, I think it is perfectly advisable that the commission appoint the chief, who's the acting city manager, as the liaison or the city attorney. Why? Because if you have one commissioner as a liaison, the temptation to violate the sunshine law might be there, and it might be done accidentally. So I think for the purpose of propriety and to avoid the appearance of maybe undue influence, that it would be better to have a staff member as your liaison and not a commissioner. That's not saying I don't trust you guys. I like all of you and I trust you, but if you forget to say something to one of the other commissioners, then you have a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do have a question. Oh, I'm sorry, we're at public comment. Let me let you finish,
Is there anybody
please.
else here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Go ahead, Ms.
This is a general question. When we identify a liaison from the commission, because a liaison cannot speak on behalf of the full commission. So I'd like to understand what is the expectation of the commissioner who will be identified as a point if this motion passes that would be different from having our staff do it?
So in my initial conversation, in my initial dialogue, that's what the recommendation or my statement was referencing. But I wanted to, again, give the recommendation that came from the committee the opportunity. But again, I don't see, even if there is a commissioner that is the liaison, it still will have to come before the commission in its entirety. But I wanted to, again, give, with respect to the committee and their recommendation was to have a liaison, commissioner liaison. So again, I was either way prepared to make a motion, but after the statement made by Attorney Hill, I went along with that motion, but I was prepared to make a motion either way.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Is there an answer to the question, Ms. Mayor? Do you have my question is, for the commissioner, if this passes, who gets appointed, what is their responsibility? Because I'm not sure, if it was me, it's just my opinion, I'm one commissioner, and I don't know what benefit or value that provides that would be different if it was a non-commissioner who was a liaison. I think that's what I'm trying to understand, so we don't have any confusion in this process.
I agree with you, and I don't think there's really, to be honest, any benefit for one of us to be a liaison. I think it makes more sense for the acting, in this case right now, acting city manager and attorney, or to be the liaison, that one of us, it's not really going to serve a purpose in my mind.
So given the consensus of what has just been communicated, as the official person that made the motion, I would make the recommendation to withdraw my motion. Are you friendly to it, being that you second? Yes. I also would like to make a additional motion that we have staff represented as the liaison for the Newtown Museum committee, to reference the committee, and we identified that person. I would make the recommendation that acting, even in the capacity of acting, if he was to transition back to chief, that he still be able to serve in the capacity as liaison for the commission.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Any public comment? Seeing no one close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you.
That was the original motion that was made.
That's the same thing I was saying.
And I would like the record to state that our goal is to have this prepared and on the agenda to vote on for the next commission meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you. History of Palatka book release, Mr. Leonard.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I believe we have copies of the book for each of you. The book was produced, I did one previous book on Southwest St. Johns County, the Hastings area. My family was involved with that part of St. Johns County, and interestingly enough, through this process of doing this book, I came to the realization that my great-grandfather and his brother came to Palatka in the 1880s and then went up the Ocklawaha to Marion County, where they set up their first farming operation. They also had relatives in San Mateo, so there were connections here that went way back to my family's beginnings in the state of Florida. The type of book that I created for Palatka is what's called the Images of America series. It's by a company called Arcadia Publishing. It's very image-driven. And the purpose of the book, at least as far as I was concerned, was I have read, in some cases multiple times, every book that's been written on the history of Palatka, at least the major story of Palatka in Putnam County. They're all mentioned in the bibliography of the book. Those books tend to be more scholarly. They require study to get value out of them. And what I really felt the community needed as a contribution to revitalization and attracting business and visitors to Palatka was, you have a wonderful story. Let's put it together in a way that's easy for the average person to understand in 2 hours, whether they're a resident of the community or whether they're a visitor to the community. So that is what this book set out to accomplish. It certainly is not the be-all, end-all. No book can be. I say at the end of the book that I hope it motivates others to build out the story of the history of this community in this county, but this is my contribution. If you'll give me the next image, please. So I've kind of touched on this. My family's been connected to this part of the state of Florida since the 1880s. I don't know, I find that most historians have roots that go back to the area they're interested in, and mine are authentic in that respect. Larry Beaton, who I'll mention in a moment, is probably the best-known historian in Putnam County, and certainly his roots go way back in this community and in this county. So after I did the book in Hastings and on Southwest St. Johns County and the farming areas and how that was a booming business back in the early part of the 20th century, knowing how to put one of these books together and knowing that Palatka had such a wonderful story, I thought it was time to put one together, so I approached Larry about doing it. Next image, please. So it's this slide, which is kind of a marketing slide, says it's more than a book, it's a storytelling asset that preserves Palatka's history at a high level. It certainly is something that will help everyone understand a lot of very good things that have happened in this community over the last several hundred years. It's another thing, when you write a book about the history of this part of the state of Florida, you go way back. You have to, this Hastings was a relatively easy book. It started with Henry Flagler sending a cousin to build a farm out there. But this story goes back to the Native Americans, and it continues ever since then. So there's a lot to talk about when you talk about this community, and I hope it does create new opportunities for tourism, for education of the community, and have an economic impact. That's the point. This isn't about making money for me. I probably put over 1,000 hours into putting this book together. I just hope it helps the Palatka community. Next image. I dedicated the book to Larry Beaton. I met Larry at a special event at the Bronson Mulholland House about 10 years ago. Him being a historian and me being very interested in the history of the state of Florida, we formed a friendship. Frankly, starting about 4 years ago, I kept trying to get Larry interested in writing the book and letting me put together the images and be the administrative guy. But Larry has suffered from ill health all those years, and while he had resources and helped me in the course of this book, he was unable to literally do the writing. So it fell to me, if the book was going to happen, to take that upon myself, which I did. I have seen Larry many times, went by and saw him briefly today. But I do hope that this book is a blessing to the community. And last slide. There will be an event at the Larimer Art Center next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. I'll talk for about 45 minutes or so on some of the key images and stories that go with the book. And there'll be a book signing for people that are interested in having their book signed. So all are welcome. I hope it's a successful event, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce the book. Questions? Any questions? More books to come.
Hello, everyone. Okay, while she has the financial dashboard pulled up, we'll be going over that for the month of April. We're 58% into the year. The first, right there. So this first page is a summary of all the funds. Overall, we're stable. The items that are highlighted in green are considered stable, and yellow would be where we're monitoring closely. You can go to the next page. The next page is a list of all the departments within the general fund. For the most part, most departments are within the healthy range. And the items that are highlighted in yellow, we're monitoring. Mainly the other government services department has liability insurance that is basically causing the 63.44%. And then for Jenkins Gymnasium, we're aggressively purchasing capital items to improve the gymnasium. Next page. And the final page, we're listing the reserves for the general fund, utilities, and sanitation. And that concludes my financial report.
No. Excellent job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
R.C. Willis Water Treatment Plant update. Mr. Sean.
Hey, Commissioners, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir.
All right, time for a half-year update on the water plant. We got a lot of things going on. First I'm going to bring up is well number 8 is done rehab now. We're waiting on FBL to come in and change out a transformer. The new transformer will provide the proper electrical current, thus lowering the bill for the electricity at the well site. And this was a capital project. The GHD is still currently being worked on. Filters are in place and all piped in. Inside valves are all installed, just waiting on piping job outside, and this was grant funded. GAC piping is still under construction, awaiting contractor to come back from another job. They arrive week of July 6th, and is scheduled to be completed the second week of August. This is a partial grant and city funded. SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. The new system is under construction. Design phase is complete. Components are arriving daily at the plant now. Phase 1 of the design and procurement is scheduled to be completed at the end of September. Phase 2, the final phase, is scheduled to be completed mid-October of 2027. This as well is a capital project. High service pumps 1 and 2, replacement of high service pumps 1 and 2. This includes pumps, motors, and VFD cabinets. Components have started arriving daily. Installation is set to begin in June. Installation will only take 2 days. This will provide us with newer components and more cost-effective and perform better. It will also provide us with backup pumps and parts for repairs, and this is as well grant funded. Skeet Club. We have met with the Skeet Club and came up with clear lines of communication if and when it is needed. Skeet Club has begun removing all surface lead pellets from the ground at the water plant that had spilled over. They are also doing the cleanup at the city gun range and the Skeet Club. We also have an understanding that there'll be no shooting on lanes 1 and 2 towards the water plant moving forward. This was agreed on before. We're just enforcing it to make sure we stick to it. Then this is being all funded by the Skeet Club, the cleanup. That is not costing us $1. Water testing, which is a big topic for us. We are still currently meeting and exceeding water quality testing and are in compliance with DEP, EPA, and SJWMD. We have just finished up our newest round of lead and copper testing. Results will be shared as we get them. TTHMs are still passing. Some of the sites are showing their lowest amounts ever recorded in Palatka. One site alone, we went from registering 150 parts per billion to one part per billion. And that is a lot to do with the funds you gave me to redo the aeration towers. That was a big, big step. Moving forward, future happenings. Florida Aurora Water Annual Conference is coming up in July. A few members of my team and myself will be attending. This conference supplies us with CEU credits for retaining our licenses. It also gives insights into new regulations and any changes coming down the line. We also get a good look at future technology that can make the water plant run more efficiently, in turn saving us money and time. And the land swap. We have secured the plot of land between the water plant and well 2. This is one of our primary wells. We wanted this land for safety to the public drinking water. A proposed auto restoration garage was set to be built on the site, which is in our wellhead protection zone and sitting on top of our force main line that feeds the whole city. This type of business uses a lot of different chemicals, solvents, gas, oil, paints, paint thinner. If there was a spill or an accident, this could have major repercussions on our well and our water supply. I believe the safety of our water is the #1 priority for myself and our citizens. And this is needed to be done. I understand it has taken away tax dollars, but the safety of our citizens is my priority. In conclusion, the water plant is striving to deliver the safest quality water we can. We are meeting and exceeding quality standards and are steadfast at dealing with customer concerns. Just over 2 years ago, I took over the day-to-day of the water plant. Since then, we have made leaps and bounds of both quality and production. I want to thank the Commission for supplying me with all the tools necessary to make this happen, and I'm very excited for the future of the Palatka drinking water plant.
Can you just go quickly back
Sure.
and tell us what the initials stand for in 2 and 4?
2 and 4, I apologize about
That's
that.
okay.
GAC, that's the granular activated carbon filtration system. And 4 is SCADA, that's the supervisory control and data acquisition. That's the brain of the whole water plant.
Okay, thank you. That's just helpful for us in the community. to
Absolutely, no
understand
problem.
Really. Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
I just want to say to Mr. Sean, thank you. Since taking over, you have aggressively addressed all concerns that have come before or come up at the water treatment plant, and you have kept us informed as a whole of anything, whether it was any things that were going on in the community, speculations, or anything. You immediately put those to rest. So again, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for making sure that the drinking water in Palatka is where it needs to be.
You are very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And
You're very
you might
welcome.
as well stay right there.
All
The
right.
employee team building, city
All
clerk.
right, now this one's a little more fun. All right. All right, Community Cleanup Day. This is part of our Palatka team building. This was all volunteers from all our employees getting together, learning to work with other people, switching up departments. What we did this year is we took everybody who volunteered and we blended them. Previously, we separated it by department, sent departments out to do a certain area, and that was great. This year, we intermingled everybody. So you had to talk and work with people that you've never seen before. You may not even have known their name. But by the time it was done, everybody was ecstatic. Everybody got to know everybody. I put a lot of pictures in because it really shows the great time these guys had and the work that was accomplished. This year, we had 62 employees volunteer for cleanup. That is an impressive increase from last year's 22. So we went way up this year. We were able to form 10 teams to cover multiple areas in the city. Some of those spots were Riverfront Park, 8th and Dunham, Booker Park Creek area, Jenkins Building, Historic District South, Historic District North, Reed City, City Hall to the PD, and the creek across from Florida Furniture Store, which I understand was in a rough shape, and now it looks pretty darn good. We removed over 50 bags of trash from these locations, as well as multiple tires, tables, you name it, we found it. We also had 5 outstanding sponsors this year for this event. They were fantastic. I'm going to mention them real quick. Duncan of Palatka supplied breakfast for everybody, coffee. They were fantastic, big help for us. Hanson Incorporated, another one that supplied a monetary donation. Autologic LLC also provided a monetary, and so did Power and Pumps. And we had our community shirts all made by All Things New, who in turn actually cut the rate for us because they knew it was a city happening and wanted to be involved. So fantastic. I couldn't thank these people enough. And as I said, breakfast and shirts were provided to all who participated, as you can see. And then once we were done, we all met back at the Jenkins. Thank you, Mr. Eddie, for having us all over there. And we supplied lunch for everybody. We had, with the donations, we had hamburgers, hot dog. Everybody got to sit down and cool off, first of all. It was hot out there. Enjoy a good meal, and then everybody went back to work. And that's how the day ended. Moving forward, I will ask during budgeting that the commission consider supplying a small budget for the team building, seeing we can't ask the same sponsors over and over every time. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to everybody who volunteered. We appreciate it and appreciate the spirit of caring about our city.
Mayor, if we could,
Go ahead.
if I could have Eddie Cutright come up and give a small portion for the Bartram Frolic reimbursement.
Well, before we talk about that, I want to make a note that the donut picture, I was not getting donuts. I was just organizing them for everybody else. I just want to make sure that's understandable now. That was some bad shade was thrown on me right there. So, I want bad shade that was thrown on me. But I want to take opportunity to give y'all the opportunity to hear some of the success from the resolution that y'all put together last year about the special event, annual special event reimbursement program. This is our second opportunity to give money back to the organizations that do events on a regular basis. The first one check went to the Porch Fest, Mr. Vito Russo, but during that time we were trying to work out the kinks. But this time we have came together and think we have it figured out now, Ms. Shante, Ms. Pierre. So I wanted to bring Sam up here and let him say a few things and also present the check to him.
Good, thank you. Yeah, this is really wonderful. The Bartram Frolic started 8 years ago. Actually, this is our 10th version of the Bartram Frolic this year, so it's our 10-year anniversary. We have educated through our education program 8,000 second graders in Putnam County. Isn't that amazing? Put them out on the river and all of that, and then we have our Passport to the Past thing on the riverfront. All of this was created by the city of Palatka and Putnam County, and we really appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure. This year, was the absolute smoothest. Eddie's crew, from Jessica to Courtney, and all of the people involved, the police department and everything like that, made our life a whole lot easier than it's ever been. And I just want to thank y'all for the cooperation.
And I actually asked him to be short on his speech, so he tried to do it.
You did a good job for Sam.
Thank you very much.
See, you can write me up later, but I need one more minute. This is going to be short, but I want to take this opportunity to thank somebody, one of my staff members that's leaving, and she's in attendance. So I want to call Ms. Sheffield up here, please. Yeah, she's actually want to spend more time with her family, so she's leaving me. Her last day is tomorrow, but I want to take this opportunity to let her know that she's going to be missed, and the job that she brought to that special coordinator job that she did for me is outstanding. The groundwork that she has laid, it's going to be beneficial to the next person that comes in, and you're going to be missed. But I know you're going to be up there. Don't you cry on me. But here's your show. Thank you for being a part of the team.
All right.
I know it was short and sweet, but I just want to thank the city and everybody. I truly enjoyed my job. I learned a lot. I met a lot of good people. And I'm just glad to be able to be out here to say that the city is doing great things. Everybody want to say something negative, but I know what everybody does, from sanitation, finance, just everybody. So I just say thank you. I'm still gonna be in the town, we just doing some different things. So, but I will miss being there at Jenkins and everything. I was telling Mr. Cartwright about the first pictures that I had in my phone of the building compared to what it looks like now, and even at the Larimer and the Tillman House. Yeah, I'll be saying it wrong. So you could just see what the city is doing, and that's a great thing, and we should be proud of our city and our staff and the people that work for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I was going to save this for my commissioner comments, but since Mr. Cutright introduced this, I want to say, too, job well done. Ms. Shanna led the City of Palatka Summer Safety Summit. That was held on, I don't remember the date, May 20th. And it started with James A. Long Elementary School students. I believe there were about 165 kids. And I want to say thank you for coordinating that effort. Participation was by the police department, the fire department, the state attorney's office, the Florida Department of Transportation. There were some lifeguards out there talking about safety, and I know I'm missing people, so I don't want to call, but these are the shirts that they gave everyone, and the students were absolutely, oh, I'm supposed to talk about the back even though I wasn't on the agenda, okay. Oh, I know why they're saying the back, because there were so many partners, community partners and sponsors. I'm not going to read them all off, but there were, gosh, it looks like 20 partners. So this was an amazing partnership with the City of Palatka and the department, and thank you, Ms. Shanna, and I hope this is an annual event that we can extend to other schools. Guys, it was absolutely amazing. So the only feedback I have is next time, make sure you invite our PIO. So that's to everyone so that she can get these events. But Ms. Shanna, thank you very much, a huge impact, and thank you for leaving this program so perhaps you can volunteer in the future to make sure we keep it going. Thank you very much.
I'm going to open the floor to public comment for items that are not specified on the agenda. If there's anybody here for public comment, you have 3 minutes, and please give your name and city or town of residence, again, for any items not specified on the agenda, and no action will be taken at this time. Is there anybody here for public comment? Ms. Duke.
Sorry, I arrived a little late, so I didn't get my card turned in. I just wanted to say that I did go down to the Blue Crab Festival. I don't like being hot, but I wanted to check out how things were. I was so impressed on Saturday with the crowds that came out to participate. And I didn't get a chance to talk to them, but cars were backed up past Pizza Boys, that far back, parking that far back to walk down to the riverfront. I was just terribly impressed that we had that kind of crowd on Saturday. And then Sunday after church, I decided I could walk down a few blocks in the heat and check things out. And I talked to about 6 or 7 vendors. Every one of them were so impressed with how professional it had been, how well it had gone, how their sales had been on Saturday, and that even though that they were packed and they were never stopped in communicating with the people that came, that it was marvelous, and that they would come back, and that they wanted to check on coming to the farmers market, twice a month here in town, that they found out about it while they were here, and they planned on seeing if they couldn't come to those events. So I thought it came out very well. And then when I went to the parade on Monday, there was a family there that had gone down and listened to the music and said they were terribly impressed with how wonderful the music was and the children's section that was set up, that it was marvelous. It was the best one they'd ever seen. Thank you.
Thank you. And speaking of Blue Crab, Ms. Hughes.
Good evening, Erin Hughes, East Palatka. Yes, and thank you so much, Ms. Duke. We actually crossed paths with each other during the weekend, and she gave those sentiments to our team, which, quite frankly, we have been showered with a lot of love and support in the success of the event that was completely all ran by volunteers this weekend. Through the wind, through the rain, and through the heat, we wound it up coming out where everything's in good condition. We're solid. Every single vendor and band person that we had services with all received their payments. All the merchants downtown are getting a full refund on their deposits. So we have strived to work with the community. We have Palatka Sunshine Rotary out there helping serve beers. The GFWC Women's Club of Palatka also helped serve a shift. And so it was a really great excitement reading all the feedback from our marketing team, being comical and having a really great time interviewing a few members of the commission here. And also I wanted to commend your city staff. We worked really well with Palatka PD, Public Works, Community Affairs, Sanitation, and the fire department. They were excellent all the way through, beginning from basically 8 a.m. on Thursday, getting all those barricades and cones set it out for roadblocks, PD securing those roads for safety for us to have a smooth transition and load in, and even down to the last day where we basically consolidated and opened up roads for the public use as quickly as possible. So I feel like it was a really great weekend. We didn't have really anything significant to report. So other than a camel getting loose, a kitten getting saved, which did get a home before it left. And then I think, just a lot of fun. And I think it was a really great example that no matter what came our way, positive attitudes gave a positive outcome. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'd like to let you know that as of today, we turned in the application for 2027. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alexander, public comment.
Can you hear me okay? Josh Alexander, 246 Port Comfort Drive. Been a long day, spent 5 hours with scientists at the Water Management District this morning, and a quick couple-hour trip to Jacksonville, but wanted to make it back for this meeting. After speaking with Mr. Cutright this afternoon, it appears that you guys may be on board for moving forward with my staff and trying to lay the framework for the use of some of the ball fields in town. And I wanted to say thank you and make sure that that you guys were okay with that, dispatching my staff and getting something structured so we can work back and forth on that.
Thank you. We don't respond until afterwards. So
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to you guys.
Thank you.
and I'll get something together for you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment for items not specified on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do we want to provide any feedback to any of these comments? Go ahead.
Getting back to the Blue Crab Festival, again, kudos. I know you've heard the wonderful reviews. We also had some opportunities for improvement. I just want to encourage you, if you would like, well, first of all, let me just acknowledge that that team put together that festival in a few months. So let's acknowledge that, because I don't know if we remember, they got this well after Memorial Day of last year. So thank you for doing an excellent job in such a short period of time. Hopefully we can get everything approved and get on so we can have a full year to prepare. And I just want to encourage anyone, since this is volunteer and a community festival, please volunteer, get on a committee. If you have suggestions, please send them to bluecrabfestival.com. They are taking all suggestions. And let's make this even better for next year. So I want to say, great job. What I heard more than anything walking around the festival is that our city staff was absolutely amazing. So I want to reiterate what Aaron just said. Our fire department, our police department, our sanitation department, glowing, glowing, glowing reviews. We did an excellent job in supporting that festival. So I personally want to say thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to respond?
I have another response, but
Okay.
I'll press pause, but it's on.
Another topic, okay.
Yes.
Anybody else have any input on Blue Crab or any comments? Okay.
No,
Go-
if I can just offer a suggestion as well. I know that following Monday, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an official event of the Blue Crab, but in the promoting of the Blue Crab, if we can work with the VFW post to encourage them to take part in our Memorial Day ceremony and parade that generally takes place. I know that came up as a concern with some of those that are with the VFW post. So if there could be some kind of, just a partnership, doesn't have to be an official day, but just in some of the publications and output, supporting them in their outreach to the community, since you all have that outreach down pat.
Thank you. Anybody else on Blue Crab? Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Okay. And I think to speak to Mr. Alexander's comments, we are relying on Mr. Cutright to work with Mr. Alexander and come up with the final product when that's done. So just moving forward. Thank you. On to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda? No, nothing. Commissioner Davis? No. Commissioner Boren? Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Campbell? No. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Assuming no recess, I'll keep moving along. Regular business B, release of lien, 4510 West Madison Street. Ms. Bertella Bravo, the owner, is here. Mr. Agamo?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening. Good evening.
Let me just get my bearings here. Commissioner, this is a request for a lien reduction, for a lien release, actually, for a property for 4510 West Madison Street. And this is a little bit of an unusual case. Let's see if I can summarize a little bit the circumstances of this request. The property was with code violation back in 2012, and there accumulated fines, and then the property was sold. The current property owners bought the property in 2015, unaware of the liens that was on the property. The title company did not pull the lien, so this couple, this family, went ahead and bought the property. They improved the property, they removed all the code violations, they brought it into compliance. They spent about $30,000 on improving the property. Now the property they want to sell the property because their family is expanding, and that's when they find out that they have a lien, unaware. So the liens that accumulated is about almost $40,000. I'm sorry, $26,000. And the request, they're asking for a reduction in the lien, in the fines. And based on the guidance that we have today, that would amount to about $13,000, which would be a tremendous impact to the family because they rely on that money on the sale of the house to buy another house. The property has been in compliance with our code ever since they moved into the property in 2015. I think what we're recommending is that we take a look again at the guidelines for releasing or reducing liens because it doesn't fit everything. Like I said, this is a little bit unusual. It's a homestead property, and to know better, to know fault on the property owners, they get the property in compliance, they improve the property, and now they have this situation where they have to pay $13,000. I think that the goal of the city, we have achieved what is our goal, which is to bring properties into compliance with our code. So we are recommending that we take another look at the guidelines, staff, and if you ask for my personal recommendation, I would recommend that we just release the lien and not punish this family. With that, the applicants are here. I don't know whether the city attorney wants to add anything to it, or?
I suggest we hear from the applicant.
Okay. Yes, come on up. Please give us your name and city or town of residence for the record.
Good evening. My name is Leonor. I do live at 4510 West Madison Street. We did purchase our home in 2015. We were never notified that the property itself had a code lien. We just started a contract with trying to close out our home because we're trying to find a bigger home for our family. I'm currently the only one working because I'm trying to do the things right regarding immigration status with my husband. I'm a mother of 5, so I'm really trying to beg you guys, please, to release this lien.
I just got a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Vaughn.
So when we purchase the property, they go through title search through a title company?
Yes, and apparently the title company did not pick it up, and it was not notified that there was a lien. So there is a fault on the title company, obviously.
Okay, but generally when it goes to a title company, there's, I think there's a curing portion as it relates to whenever if they secured a true title company, that should have helped in that regard. From what I understand about real estate for the most part. So I'm not sure how does that work if it was just found during the sale. So I'm just trying to get that.
All I know is that when they did the closing, the title was clear, and they didn't show any lien on the property.
Right, so did they purchase it through was it direct purchase?
That I don't know.
It's under a warranty deed.
Oh, come up to the mic, please.
The property was purchased through a warranty deed. This is our first home that we purchased here in the state of Florida. We weren't aware that this was not a clean title or clean paperwork.
Right, my question was, I mean, did you purchase it through a tax lien, or did you purchase it through a direct buy, or was it through a bank, or how?
We purchased the property through Michael Simpson, which was, to my understanding, he had paid off the taxes in, I guess, a direct buy would be the answer.
So who is Michael Simpson?
Michael Simpson unfortunately he has passed away.
Okay.
He would buy and sell properties here in Putnam County. Currently, we were in a situation when we first moved here, we bought a property that we were having some legal issues, so was his first home, purchasing a first home, in order to help us.
Right, okay. So, yeah, so it sound like it wasn't like the normal process where you would go through the title company to make sure that those properties don't have any liens, and those are some of the harsh realities in dealing with, transactions for the property transactions, at least, because seems like seemed like a good deal, but, sometimes those things come with additional things that you may not know of, and title companies help cure those things. So that's just my comment. So I just want to understand how everything, how the transactions took place, whatever.
So whenever we signed over or signed the paperwork, on the paperwork it states that the property is free of any fees or anything owed on the property. That's what our understanding was whenever we signed the paperwork.
Go ahead.
Which paperwork? Can you be specific?
Our warranty.
When they closed on the property, it said it was a clean title, and apparently it wasn't. Or their understanding was that it was a clean title.
Do you have that paperwork? It's not included in this packet, Mr. Rizzo?
I believe so. You want to see? You want to see?
Yes. Where would I find that is free and clear? Any lien?
Ms. West is probably the best person to interpret.
The reason why I asked that question is,
Sure. So this was conveyed to the applicant back in 2015 via a special warranty deed. They purchased it from a Michael Simpson who had purchased it at a tax deed sale. Nevertheless, a special warranty deed is just below a warranty deed in terms of warranting title, but it should have been conveyed free and clear. This was prepared, doesn't say who prepared, it looks like Michael Simpson prepared it, and I don't see who the closing agent was or the title insurance provider. But basically, it says that the grantor is lawfully seized of said land in fee simple, which is how you want title conveyed, and that the grantor has good, right, and lawful authority to sell and convey said land, and hereby warrants the title to said land and will defend the same against the lawful claims of all persons, that it is free of all encumbrances except taxes accruing subsequent to December 31st, 2014.
Go ahead.
So Mr. Agomo, you said that this is a unique situation, but it really isn't. I mean, it really isn't unique.
I said unusual.
Unusual, unique. It isn't, because we just had this at our last meeting when we told the guy had something similar.
Yeah,
with the
what I
lien-
meant, Commissioner,
lien.
is that it's unusual the fact that these people bought this property and the
In
lien
good
was
faith,
not-
we're led
was
to
not
believe that it was
discovered.
clear. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, and this is a homestead, the property, when the property owners, after they bought it, they brought the property to compliance, they spent $30,000, which is more than what the lien is. That's what I said it was unusual.
But we do know that folk buy this unseen property a lot, and they come with encumbrances on them, and when they get ready to sell them, they have to pay the lien to be able to have a free and clear title to the said property. And to me, I guess we got to go back to what we actually have as what we created as far as our rules that we follow. So
Commissioner, those are just guidelines.
These are
They're not rules per se that have to be, it doesn't seem to be an obligation, but these are guidelines that staff follows,
yeah, but if we're gonna hear every one of the lien reductions and the requests, we need to remove some of the processes we have, because everybody have the same right to come up here before us and ask the same hardships. Everybody has these hardships. I'm not saying not do it, but we got to find a better way to address these. And I want to say it in this meeting, we got to find a better way, because everybody have hardships.
You're right, Commissioner, and that's the reason that staff, with the city attorney and myself, recommending that we take another look at the guidelines, maybe had a workshop with the board to see how we can move forward in the future.
Yeah, definitely want to help you guys. But it almost seems like our hands are tied a little bit, especially with what we sent the property owner our last meeting out with. And I think the last thing we left with, they want to go to litigation.
But I think that's different.
No, it's the
That's totally
same
different.
thing.
No, it's totally different.
Well,
Totally different circumstances. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis, if you're done. Are you done?
I guess so, Mayor. Oh,
Commissioner Davis? If you're sure you're done.
I want-
Okay.
I want to make sure you're good.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
Based on the circumstances presented and the fact that the property has been brought up to code and there are no current violations, I move that we release the lien at 4510 West Madison Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Question.
Question? I'm
have a
waiting.
comment.
Go ahead.
So my comment would be to the city attorney. I know, Mr. Gummo, you mentioned that it was a guideline, but what we put in place was not a guideline. It was a policy. From what I understood, our former city manager, former city attorney prior to Mr. Don Holmes helped draft that whole thing, and it was not a guideline. And I think we had other situations come up before, and our city attorney stated that we could not we could not go against our own policy, if my memory served me correct. So I'm sure it was not a guideline, it was a policy. So that's my recollection.
So it is actually a guideline that was adopted by resolution. It's entitled Guidelines for Code Enforcement Fines, Lien Reductions. It's the attachment to the resolution, that's what it's entitled.
Guideline.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any
One last thing.
Okay, and we're going to open. Go ahead,
So-
Commissioner Warren, then we'll open to public comments.
So, just going forward, for future situations, like this, I know we say it's unusual and different things of that nature. So if we have another claim and numerous claims forward that people come with a similar situation as such, what would be, what, are we going to continue to go that path? That's just, I want to just throw that out there on the table.
The man said that they was trying to come up with something to revisit, to bring to
That's
the board.
what was just stated, yes, that Mr.
Uh,
Agamo and Attorney West are going to work on some revisions, suggestions, recommendations to bring back to us. So that in the future, there's more clear direction. But go ahead.
May I just say this? And again, I'm going to put it out here, but I'd like to just say that this is from my understanding. If an understanding is different, I'm open to hearing it. But with code violations, the purpose is to remove blight. And it's not to raise money for the city. We really want our city to be without blight. The other thing I am concerned, I want to make sure we do just keep guidelines because circumstances are different. And I believe where we agreed is when an investment company owned a property, we looked at it differently. That was my understanding. But I do want to say this, I just hope that we can always remember our primary goal here for our city. It's not to put an undue burden on anyone, but it is to remove blight. And there is a consequence to people who do not take the appropriate action. So I just want us to keep that in mind. I also believe that circumstances differ for these cases, and I think that we do need to consider them on a case-by-case basis. And I implore us to be reasonable. This correction of the violation exceeded the amount of the actual code fees. So again, I just hope we can be reasonable and consider these on a case-by-case basis, always with the goal of what is best for the city and to not cause an undue harm when it's not needed. And to understand this error was not made by anyone who's here today who can take responsibility from it, but in hopes that in the future, we can rectify this. Thank you.
Mayor, just
Go ahead,
for a
Commissioner
point
Kim.
of order, I would like for us to limit the comments as regards to, there is a motion on the floor and it has been second. Some of the commentary that has been made, it can veer the conversation in a different direction that should have taken place prior to the motion being made. So as a point of order, I would like us to limit the conversation with regards to this and move forward with public comment and ultimately a vote.
With that said, I'm opening the floor to public comment on this topic. Come up, Ms. Kitchens.
Allegra Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. We didn't have the opportunity to make a public comment before you made the motion. So limiting what we can say is a violation of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution's freedom of speech. That being said, I support you all for reducing the fine. The lady was not aware of it. The title company is at fault. The person that drew up the deed is at fault. She should have been notified of it. Mr. Davis is correct. Circumstances do alter things. This is an unusual circumstance. This lady has homestead. Under the Florida Constitution and Florida statutes, the city can basically never foreclose on homestead property for a codes lien. If the lady sells the property and she signs homestead someplace else, the property still can't be foreclosed on. If she dies and it goes to an heir, the property still can't be closed on. So the chances of you actually getting this lien are slim to none. So please, judge this case on its merit. It's a guideline. You as a city commission have the right to make a decision based on the case. Please reduce this lady's lien and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Please give us your name and city, town of residence.
Ana Estevez, City of Palatka. I am the realtor, and I feel that, we've known each other for years. I see this happen a lot, mainly because it happened to my mom as well. People are buying certificate taxes. People don't pay their taxes. and they're using people with language barrier, taking them to a title company to sign a document that has been created by the owner, not the title company, but the owner. And they go into this title company thinking that they're signing, getting it notarized there, assuming everything is clear and done. Next thing you know, these surprises come along. She went to a title company with a warranty deed that was created not by the title company, but by this person that can just find a template in Google, and then she signs it in a title company. I think title companies need to take that very seriously when they're notarizing documents. And I do agree that it should be taken case by case because every scenario is very different when they're buying these properties. She has five kids, you know, and they've been there since 2015, and they've taken amazing care of that property. And it wasn't $30,000, they spent $70,000 in that property. And anyone can look it up and see it on Zillow. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition?
Nay.
Thank you. Moving forward, excuse me. Discussion direction land swaps.
We at a stall?
So is somebody going to,
I'll go ahead. This,
Okay.
this item was added to the agenda at the request of Commissioner Jones. I paused because I thought Commissioner Jones was going to open up.
Well, if I may, generally, we have, if a commissioner pulls an item or adds an item to the agenda, they are to adhere to or provide the commission with the reason of it being added to the agenda.
and thank you, and I didn't realize who had added it to the agenda, so that is why I did not turn to my colleague, but.
May I, Madam Mayor,
Go ahead.
for commission? Land swap. The history here, I think it was actually brought up by the city attorney. The ask was, how many parcels of the city of surplus land did we get rid of in the last, I think it was last year? And there were 3 that were identified, land swaps or land acquisitions or sales. One was the airport land swap transaction involving Mr. Jeff Nations and part of airport property where we actually have now correct me if I'm wrong, the Public Works Building. We purchased that from Mr. Nations. And number 2 was the Port Consolidated, which is next door. The land swap was the River Center, and that was involving the Blue Crab Development. And it says Blue Crab Development, and so as a question mark, was there another party involved with that? I'm looking on page 346 in your packet. It's an and, but there's nobody else. Noted.
It's referring to item number 3 after the semicolon.
Okay. And the third was the PRC land swap involving Teresa Davis. Now, the questions I had, and we were talking about transparency and making these transparent, there was some conversation about the airport land swap and it being incomplete. I don't know how much the rest of the commission knows about it. I asked Ms. West to actually give an update, and I think everybody received an update on that property. Is that correct? By nod your head if you have any.
Yes.
Okay. So bringing us up to speed with that, I had questions I wanted to ask, and since Sunshine prohibits us from talking about it collectively, I wanted to know, was that property engaged in any litigation currently is there any litigation going on with that property currently that we need to know about?
No.
No. Are there any FAA inquiries about that land swap in our property that's dealing with miscegenations and the land swap that we did with them?
I'll defer to either our airport manager or our consultant from Passero, Matt Singletary.
Good evening, Ewell McNair, your airport manager. Could you repeat the question, please?
The question was, were there any FAA inquiries in reference to that property as far as any further investigation? Is there a need of boundaries and et cetera?
Okay. So just for clarity here, and to try to avoid confusion, the reference to the Public Works land swap, so that authorization was received 2023, September, I believe, so back in the days. Land swap number 2 is a project item that the FAA has a concern with the runway visibility zone. So during our annual airfield inspection, which is typically handled by state officials, the FAA came in with the state and identified 2 items. One was the residential or appearance of RVs at the airport, and 2 was looking at the RVZ, or runway visibility zone, which is essentially a line of sight concern. So on our ALP, airport layout plan, it's actually referenced as if we were to do some kind of expansion, it would impact those areas. So there is an inquiry by the FAA regarding what are they working with on that land swap.
Okay. And since you brought up expansions, we were actually asking for allocation for airport runway expansions. Will this hinder the progress or even possibility of us receiving those funding period?
Well, the short answer is yes. However, during the FAA's inspection, about 2.5, 3 months ago or so, the communication they came back with us laid out some options to try to get past the concern or the issue. Since then, we have, under the former city manager, responded back to the FAA with the option. So they are reviewing that. But the short answer is yes. If you do not take these options, if you do not resolve it, it will put you in a position where you're going to forfeit grant eligibility. So that's a sensitivity.
Sensitivity. Also with land swap number 2, number 1, were there any boundary issues? Understand that.
Not to my knowledge.
No boundaries issues? So with the visibility concerns or questions, are we good with?
Yeah, from my understanding, with land swap number 1, when the FAA from the airport district office generate a cover letter laying out, hey, this is our position and interest in releasing this property, they give you a deed of release, laying out what the conditions are, limits, restrictions, those kind of things. Well, that has already gone through the Federal Register. Okay, so that's good to go. That's done. Any land swap release, until you go through that, that's when you're clear, because it gives the public the comment opportunity on those kind of projects.
Okay. So, Ms. McNair, that land swap is complete. We're done with it.
Number 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. Land swap number 2, this goes back to land swap number 2, I'm okay with it. Land swap number 3, that's the most recent land swap that we have. And just recently, we discovered that it actually, can we get the history on how do we get the land swap number 3? Ms. West, it wasn't, my first question, was it on our surplus land list? Was that listed as surplus land?
It was not.
It was not. Could you give a little bit of history on it?
Sure. As I detailed in my May 12th memorandum to our acting city manager, as well as the mayor and commissioners, I provided an extensive chronological history of what transpired. On July 15th, Teresa Davis purchased a parcel of land via warranty deed from the Anna Fertig Foundation. The Anna Fertig Foundation had acquired the parcel at a tax deed sale in November of 2022 for $4,500. Teresa Davis paid $12,500 for the parcel. The parcel was a landlocked piece of property within the city's well field, as you heard Mr. Sean Bruneau reference earlier. The parcel consisted of 0.38 acres of industrial zone land. Teresa Davis met with city staff in July, together with her husband Clay Davis, to obtain an easement for ingress and egress access to the landlocked parcel. City staff was amenable to the easement and requested that Davis draft an agreement. In addition, city staff requested a right of first refusal in the event that Teresa Davis should decide to sell the lot. I drafted a right of first refusal and submitted the same to her on July 23rd. She reviewed it and was amenable to the terms due to the sensitive location of the property. In August of last year, city staff, including the city manager, Marcia Carty, myself, the planning director, public works director, the water superintendent, met with Teresa and Clay Davis, and during the meeting, the Davises explained that they had acquired the parcel for their son to build a car repair mechanic machine shop. This use, while permissible under the zoning, raised some concerns with our city staff, in particular our water superintendent, given the proximity to the water treatment plant and our well field. It is well within our well field protection zone. And I provided a diagram to show you the parcel in proximity to the water plant and our well field protection zone. In addition, it also sits on one of our water mains, as Mr. Sean explained earlier. So I drafted a restrictive covenant, basically limiting the substances that were permissible in the shop, and then also allowing for basically a third-party inspector to come on site to inspect for any sort of contaminant usage. And that transaction was placed on the September 10th City Commission agenda for approval. And at that time, given the nature of the restrictive covenants that I had proposed, the Davises approached the city with an option to have us consider a land swap instead. This was a preferable option for the city because it would remove all risk of any sort of contaminants entering our well field protection zone, which, in our opinion, was of critical importance for the safety, health, and welfare of the citizens of Palatka. So we moved forward. We proposed, I believe, 4 different potential parcels that the planning director and I had identified that were comparable in value and size. Those lots were surplus lots. I believe some of them, but maybe not all of them, are identified on our surplus land list on our website. They included Napoleon Street in North 12th, Ocean Street in North 13th, Olive in North 12th, Olive in North 11th. The first three are zoned residential, but the planning director indicated that the city would sponsor a rezoning application. These options were shared with Teresa Davis. However, in response, they thanked us for the list of properties, but indicated they were not interested in swapping with any of those because of the residential nature. The last one, I believe, was commercial. And so they had identified a alternative parcel along PRC Way that consisted of 0.28 acres. This was a smaller fraction of a larger 13.85 acre parcel that the city owns along PRC Way. And I provided a diagram within this memo. The city manager authorized a notice to proceed with surveying that parcel on PRC Way that Teresa Davis was seeking to swap with the city. And on November 3rd, Teresa Davis provided the legal description for the proposed swap property, and that is what our surveyor used when they went out on site to mark the meets and bounds of the property. The property did have well, I don't know how much further you want me to go. I'm basically just reading the
You
memo.
don't,
Okay.
you don't have to go any further. I just have some follow-up questions.
Okay.
And thank you for giving that summary. And I'll tell you my concerns. My concerns were this property wasn't on the surplus property list, and it was handpicked by Ms. Davis, who her husband is actually the property appraiser. So how would they know anything about this particular property as far as to be even considered for a land swap? And the amount that the city gave up and what the city actually got as far as in the land swap? Because as you stated, that this property that we actually obtained by the well fields was valued at $12,000. Well, not valued at, but we purchased it for $12,500. And I believe the property that we gave up was $50,000, worth the first $50,000. And now, through communication from you, that it could be sold for over $375,000 offer on that same piece of property, the PRC Way property. And it just concerns me, and I wanted this to be bought out in the open because there's a disconnect as far as communication when we're talking about someone acquiring city property. And personally, I had a problem with the city manager, city attorney making these deals. And because of the fact, not because of your expertise, because the optics of it. And I actually requested some time ago that when we do land deals, that we get a real estate attorney to do it. Not that you're not capable. However, just like we just talked about this young lady and how those land deals were done, I would like to have a subject matter expert actually doing those land swaps so that the optics wouldn't be questioned. The reason why I brought this up, because constituents asked about this, and we can't talk about it one-on-one. I want to show transparency that really we didn't know, but you could clear it up. You and everybody else that was involved, just as I asked. And you did clear it up, but I have those questions about the value of the land. It doesn't seem to be appropriate in that swap. And it seems as if the city gave up way much more than we gained. That's 1 and 2. Number 3, the well fields and them being protected. With the covenants that's on that piece of property by the well field that you guys put on, they really could not put a automotive shop on that property because we already kind of put the covenants in place to protect it. So I want to know, why did we make that swap? And if there was it had to be, it seems like some proprietary information that went out with that PRC land that was interest to individuals. It could be more than that individual, but it seemed that that individual had knowledge or prior knowledge about that parcel, and that we owned it, for number one, and that they could get it, number two. So, Commission, I just wanted to be out. If the Commission don't think, I don't feel that there's nothing, and that's just the city doing business as usual, that's fine with me, but I wanted it to be out.
So may I address the three points that you raised?
Mhm.
The valuation was based on the Durant and Associates appraisal, evaluating the areas in the Putnam County Business Park. With M1 zoning, we didn't have for AP zoning, which would have been lower because it has limited usage. The price per acre for M1 zoning in the Putnam County Business Park is $40,000 per acre. And so it was actually in line when you take into effect the externalities of the gopher tortoise habitat on the property and the fact that the zoning was restrictive. Second, the restrictive covenants did not outright prohibit the use of the parcel near the water treatment plant as a mechanic shop. They had full intention of proceeding with that. It's just we were going to build in these restrictive covenants that would have limited certain contaminants, but we would have still have had to inspect for those contaminants being on site. So that was going to impose a burden on city resources to make sure that that actually happened. But it wasn't going to prohibit the actual use of the property because they do have a property right to use that property. For the designation, the industrial use that it was zoned at, we didn't realize that the city didn't own that. We would have thought, given its proximity to the well field, that someone would have made sure the city owned all the property in that vicinity, but that was not the case. And so we were tasked with basically doing the protective measures to protect the city's welfare. As to the knowledge of the Davises of the property owned by the city, it is public record, but I can't speak to that. That would be a question more appropriate for them.
So you did bring something up that I just want to also circle back on, and that's the contaminants. When that land swap was brought to the commission, it was very important that we actually make this swap because of the possible contamination. I asked, did we have any professional that gave us a professional opinion that it actually would, if it was actually a automotive shop, would it actually contaminate or potentially contaminate our drinking water? It could be that threat. So if so, was there any documentation from any state agency, federal agency, or was that just a personal opinion of who?
So I don't tool around in mechanic shops very often, so I actually am going to defer to Sean Bruneau, who asked actually very pointed questions on the chemicals that the mechanic shop was going to use when we were all meeting in the annex. And he had real concerns that he raised at that time that, quite frankly, would not have raised a flag had he not asked specifically about certain contaminants that were of concern to him and his effort to protect the wells.
Go ahead, please.
Contaminants for a restoration shop that is normally found at a restoration shop, as I've already mentioned before, is everything from gas to oils to solvent, paint thinners, and all the these are critical contaminants with FRWA and with DEP. As you know, one of the things that they can drop is lead and copper, and we're in a big issue with lead and copper now. We've already had this issue of contaminants in our ground. We worked through it to clear it up and make it right. Why take the risk of another possible contaminant being there? It's on a small parcel of land that should have been ours anyways. And I believe wholeheartedly, like I told you and every other commissioner earlier today, that that land swap is needed. Those chemicals are present. We'd have to have somebody go in there and mitigate the land all the time just to check it to make sure it was not being, you know, spills happen, things happen. And unfortunately, with those chemicals and the things they have in there, and if you want a more detailed list, I can provide you, Will. Absolutely, I will get that from you. For DEP, from DEP, St. John's Water Management, I can supply that for you.
When we make these decisions, I would like to have some in writing to actually, we're making decisions, and I think we kind of prematurely pulled the trigger on it personally. And I honestly, you're doing a mighty fine job out at the water treatment center. But when it comes to something like this, I would like us to have the documentation and saying why we're making some of these decisions. Not because, I just would like to have the documentation. And again, Sean, when it's the optics of this entire swap, and as you're saying, gas, lead, other oil solvents, you're right. But if I ask you right now, well, how long would it take for those solvents to get down to our drinking water? Would you be able to answer that?
It could take as little as 6 months, could take up to 20 years. But we won't know until it's too late.
Right. So again, I would, for the sake of when we do these land swaps, and I'm through with asking you a question. When we do these land swaps, I would like to have a real estate attorney take us through it, and whoever, I think we had deemed it necessary to have one when we do these swaps. And Ms. West actually concurred with that going forward. Matter of fact, I think you recommended that we don't do anymore. Is that your recommendation?
That is correct. Given the complexity, determining the equitable valuation between properties, resolving title, access, zoning issues, negotiating the terms and conditions unique to each parcel, and codifying that all in one contract with the buyer and seller. Based upon my experience with these last 3 transactions, it is my recommendation that the policy of the city should be that we no longer engage in land swaps and instead do fee simple, straight transactions as a buyer and seller with no further land swaps. That is my recommendation, my advice as legal counsel moving forward.
I agree, and I also have mentioned in the past, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank Commissioner Jones for bringing this situation up tonight. I have additional questions regarding this. My first question is, how did a parcel of land in a protective or restricted well-filled area come up for a tax sale? That's my first question.
It was never owned by the city. It was owned, I mean, I can't speak to that. It was never owned by the city.
So it was privately owned, so if somebody defaulted.
And someone neglected to pay on their real estate taxes and went for a tax sale, and it was bought up by this Anna Furtick. I can pull up the sales records, but it wasn't owned by the city.
So if this transaction had not occurred, the city still would not know that we didn't own the property near our water mains and in this area?
Not unless someone brought it to our attention, correct?
Okay. My second concern or question, I don't know if it's a question yet, let me state it. My concern is, based on what I heard Commissioner Jones bring up, that I want to talk about now the property potentially being worth over $300,000 available for a sale. That includes our tax, Mr. Clay Davis, our property appraiser. I am concerned. That definitely brings up red flags to me. I don't know, I guess I want to state that for the record. That is a huge concern for me. And then it makes me backtrack to, as Commissioner Jones brought up, this whole process of how we even got to this point, of having this transaction transpire and the potential for the future of the land that we did own that seemed a lot more valuable than what, or as valuable as what we gave up because of our water main. But I do want to make a motion when the time is right, and I want to make a motion regarding land swaps with the city of Palatka, and I want to give guidance to our city attorney to draft an ordinance that the city of Palatka will not engage in any land swaps, but to your recommendation, a fee simple buy, sale, purchase, sale, whatever that looks like, and to ensure that we have a real estate attorney involved in these, to Commissioner Jones's point. This is very disturbing to me, and I just need to put that on the record.
Do you want to say something, Commissioner Barnes?
Yes, and I completely concur with both Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Davis. All of these transactions have, has just disturbed me, from all of them, from the airport land swaps to the River Center, Port Consolidated, all of these things. And I think with the operational audit, and they were supposed to be included in that, to see what the city were actually getting out of this as it relates to value. And I can give you a quick one right now, that the city really has lost big time, and I don't know how many years it would take from a taxpayer perspective to recover from all of these transactions, and some of them involve staff. Some of them involve staff, and so those been my heartburns since those things started, 2022, 2023, since those things started to date. And so I'm really poised and just waiting until when we get done with this operational audit, how, looking at the land transactions and everything else, where does that put us?
Thank you. And I know you want to make a motion. I also have brought up in the past, I think we need to put out our RFP for a real estate agency to handle our surplus properties for sale, again, distancing the staff from that, so they don't have to go through this ordeal, that we just keep it clean and keep it professional. So that's another thing I hope we move forward in doing. The last time we had a contract with a real estate agency from an RFP, that's expired, so it's time to do it again. Thank you. Do you want to make a motion, Commissioner Davis?
Yes. I move that our attorney drafts an ordinance prohibiting the city from entering into any land swap deals, and that we move towards a, can you give me the right language, Ms. Please?
That all real estate transactions moving forward should be in fee simple conveyances.
Yes.
We have a motion.
Second.
With a real estate agent contracted by the city.
And also,
I'm sorry,
well,
real estate attorney. Thank you.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. It's too late. We're in public comment. Is anybody here for public comment? I'm sorry, I did that again. It's just one of those nights. I'm so sorry. Is anybody here for public comment on this topic? Come up, Ms. Kitchens. And I apologize in advance. I should have done that already.
Palatka Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. 36 years experience as a deed worker, working with title companies, real estate lawyers, including the late great Miss Kate Walton at the Property Appraiser's Office, formerly known as the Tax Assessor's Office. The last few years, I did work with Clay Davis. He was in our field department. After I retired, he became head of the deed department. He can speak from personal knowledge that Mr. Clay Davis is upright, honest, a decent Christian man who would not lie or dupe anybody, let alone the city. So I just want to speak in favor of his good personality and his good character. So I agree with that you all don't need to do more land swaps, given the total misunderstanding of, you all don't have any understanding of land swaps and real estate property. You said that, and you don't, except Miss Correa, she's in the business. So I do think that the wise thing to do is just what you're fixing to do is pass this and have an ordinance set up to where no land swaps are done with the city and any sale is done through a real estate attorney. I might add that Ms. West is a very good real estate attorney. Any regular attorney is a good real estate attorney. Some of us say they specialize in real estate, but all of them have a wonderful background in real estate. So I support your motion and ask you to pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment? Seeing none, we close public comment. Go ahead. Thank you. Next item under regular business, interim city manager contract. I requested this be added, so we have an update in public and that we all hear the same information. Chief Shaw.
I'm sorry. Before we get to this item, I just want to make sure that our discussion of this item is limited to process and not necessarily content, because we're in the middle of negotiations, and I want to ensure that the process happens appropriately.
I would like the record to reflect that as well. That was a concern that I had, and I brought it up to our acting city manager with regards to some of the responses that we received today via email. I think it would be to the benefit that we do not have a in-depth conversation with regards to that, and move forth with a liaison that will serve so that we could move the process forward. But as far as a detailed update, where there is uncertainty or there may be some additional information to be considered from the individual that we are looking to have in that process, I would definitely would not want to move to have that conversation until we have a more complete document to bring before the commission and move forward.
I agree. I just wanted a basic overhead and also a discussion about the liaison piece, but go ahead, Chief Shaw.
So with that being said, Mayor and Commissioners, you are on point, and that is our request. Our request is that discussion be held in regards to you identifying a liaison from the board to assist into further negotiations or conversations with the potential candidate, as well as to accept or hear what we offer as far as outside entity or organization conducting the contract negotiate or contracts built for the city, the interim city manager.
So, okay, go ahead.
And I do have one other item. I believe we talked about making an offer as a 1099 contractor for this position. And so I just want to ensure that the contract that we present is indeed a contract that supports that and not our standard employment contract for a city manager, and make sure it is appropriate for where we're moving towards.
Yes, Commissioner Davis, we have identified that, and that's one of the things we've outlined already. It's not going to be a W-2 portion for a regular employee. It will be a 1099, and that will be one of the things we're requesting be included in the contract that's built up by the outside entity.
Thank you. And with that discussion, go ahead, Commissioner.
Before you move forward, the liaison being the one in the past, appointed in the past, I don't think it's a good idea. Let me just tell you, for a commissioner to end up being a liaison, because you're too close to both sides. I mean, it's restrictive being in that role, and negotiations go bad, is really going to be on that person. I'm telling you, it's not good. Why? What is the problem or the challenge of the acting city manager, the attorney, and HR? I mean, that's three people. What is the problem of them? Do we not Have we not given them enough leeway to make the decision? And if not, what I do recommend that we do put more parameters out there. I mean, I know we probably don't want to say it in this meeting, but this is the only place we can say it collectively. We need to, it's one issue out there that seems like it's stopping this from moving forward. Either we're gonna agree to what the demands are, or we're not. It's simple.
And I think the intent here was not to get into the substance of this and to determine whether we were going to choose a liaison from the commission and also the request for an external labor attorney so that, again, for the sake of the acting city manager, the city attorney, and HR are all ultimately going to report to this person when they're hired. So to give them honestly a buffer, I think in fairness, that's why we're talking about the labor attorney. And I don't have an issue with not having a liaison from this commission as much, but I think that it's important. Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
So that we can get to the crooks and crevices of this, I think the simple request came as a result from the candidate, Ms. Curry, that was one of her requests, is that we actually hold off on the contract until further discuss, and to further notice, until she has given us the opportunity, or until she had the opportunity to give written feedback. And I know that we wanted to move rather quickly with regards to allowing Chief Shaw to become chief once again full-time. But again, just in simple, that was a request of the applicant, and I don't believe that she has not already begun to do some of the work. However, just with regards to the time frame of the document that was given to her, it wasn't enough notice for her to actually go through and provide feedback to the commission, which will give us one step closer to having something holistically that we will be able to go off of. So that's just the simple request of the applicant, the candidate.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Agreed.
And so
Looking
she's
at the
available.
information, though, in our packet today, I'm not in agreement with the contract. I just don't think that what we presented is appropriate for what we're trying to do. And I think that's my major drawback. I think it needs to be revisited, whatever that process should look like. That's number one. I think it's a confusing document, for one. It's confusing to me. And number two, agreeing with the mayor that our HR director and our city attorney will potentially be meeting with this candidate or whomever is in the interim city manager role, that we do need to have a labor attorney, looking at this. I don't think they should be put in a precarious position to negotiate or provide information to a future boss. So that's something we need to look at as well.
If we could,
One sec, go ahead,
if we
Chief.
could, in looking at a liaison, we would still be able to provide full transparency as we've been doing already to the commission, by bringing it back and letting them know where we are in each step of the phase. So it wouldn't be excluding the entire commission and leaving one out. It would just be providing that buffer for the communication and staff, opposed to staff leading the communication, which could cause issues down the road.
But essentially, at the end of the day, this is our hire.
Right.
So, again, in moving forward, I think we're getting hung up on things that we don't need to get hung up on. Again, it came as the request, it was a twofold request, and it was hold the contract for further discussion until I provide feedback, and additionally, an adequate notice, so when it comes back to the commission, that she would be available to address any questions that may come up. I don't think that's hard to give, and if we want to identify a liaison, if that's something that we desire to do, go ahead and doing that, so that on the back end, the work can continue to get done, so that we can bring this to a close.
Okay. Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Jones, I'm sorry.
So with all due respect, Commission, and you just said it, it's our hire. So are we gonna, there's some ask in that request that you just had, and I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with that, but it appears that that's where we're headed. And that's going along with some of the perks of the job. And I think that, how else will we be able to address it? If
Giving
not,
In our last time, we gave a time frame of a person to review and get back with us regarding the contract that was presented to them. Even just now mentioned, there were some qualms with regards to the contract that was presented to the actual candidate. So regardless of the parameters that are put out there, if we present someone something that potentially is null and void from the entire document, we still find ourselves at square one. So giving the opportunity for staff and whoever that liaison may be to come up with a more concrete or a more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Appropriate document for the candidate to bring back to us, because right now the parameters, say for instance, we put something out there that that individual is willing to accept with the numbers that are being provided, of course, that person is willingly going to jump up to the parameters that we put up there. So again, giving the opportunity for that document to be a little bit more solidified prior to us putting additional parameters out there, we do ourselves an injustice based on moving forth, and the candidate has substantial questions regarding, she even provided us a timeline based on what she has done since receiving the contract, the potential contract, and again, time is needed. That's all we're asking for. We're not saying that we won't come back and put parameters, but in order for us to move forward, let's provide that additional time. That's what we're asking for.
so do you have a time certain? That's my first question. Do you have a time certain? And secondly, when we start talking about the language, if we're reading the same document, I didn't see much negotiating on our side. I'm just being honest. I mean, it appears as if there was, I will come for X, Y, Z, but where do we chime in and say, here's what we're offering?
Okay, and for a point of order's sake, Commissioner Borum
I'm sorry, Commissioner Bourne,
was supposed to have the floor
go ahead.
before you.
I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah,
You
let's
should have
go,
told me.
Commissioner Borum.
Well, I don't know if it was offered prior to, but I do think that, we do have a labor attorney that can help us. We got them through the Florida League of Cities if we want to take, and staff can be involved working with the labor attorney that we already pay, or we have access to. So let's utilize that and to continue to move this thing forward. I think that's going to help us out tremendously.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I want to step back for a minute. I need to understand process. I'm a process person, and I feel like sometimes we get all over the place and hung up on how to do things. One thing I agree with that we said is the city manager, interim or permanent, is the hire of the commission. What I don't understand is that a contract was presented that we did not see. And so I don't understand the steps in the process and how we got to where we are right now. And so what I'm concerned about is that we need to establish an appropriate process that is a best practice through this. We're where we are because we, in my opinion, we're not following a standard process, and we get ourselves caught on the back end. And so at some point, we need to stop and course correct. And I think that's what drives a lot of this conversation. If I had seen this document, I would never have agreed from my vote to allow it to go forward because it's not an appropriate contract. There are things that are missing. There are items that are not best practices according to the Florida League of Cities standards or the FCCMA. I think
You got it.
okay,
You got it.
FCCMA. And there's an opportunity for us to do things the proper way from the beginning. And I'd rather err on the side of delaying and doing it right than to try to right a wrong process, because it's going to lead us to the same result. And so that's what my major issue is, which is why I'm really not talking about a timeline. I'm talking about what's been presented that we, the commission, did not even see or agree to. And now we have a candidate looking at it to agree. I don't know that we agree with it. I don't. I absolutely don't agree with it now that I've seen it. And we just need to do better and press pause, get this process written and followed. And if we're not sure and we don't have the expertise in-house, we have got to go out to get it. We have access to a labor attorney, we have access to the Florida League of Cities, and I made in my motion that we utilize those resources in this process for both the interim and the permanent search when we get to that point. And so we just need to stop and do things the right way so we can have the best outcome.
Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner.
I do believe in place we have Mr. White, who kind of came in at a time where we were trying to have this conversation, and he's versed in this area. So I would trust him to take what we have discussed with reference to this moving forward and adhere to it and help us move forward. I think the buying of the time allows the outreach to those organizations, but it also allows us to see the feedback that Ms. Curry may provide that will help us. She has been a part of this world for just as long as I've been alive. And so I trust that we have, again, the right candidate, and I trust that we are going to move forward with regards to a solid process. But again, I believe we are at that point to where we still could move forward with the process. So I wholeheartedly agree with what Commissioner Davis stated. That's why we did not want to iron out any of the details tonight, because again, what was presented to us in the document that was presented to her, I was not totally in agreement with it as well. So this does give us the opportunity to retract things back and again make sure that this process goes forward in a way that we all are on one accord from this dais.
Commissioner Jones, did you want to say something?
We're talking in circles. So one of the things you did say, we just hired a HR director, okay? So that's what HR do. They negotiate the contracts, okay? So if we're hiring capable people, let them do their job. Now, it's our hire. If we want to push off the conversation, that's one thing. But we have to have a conversation on what we're going to actually offer this candidate. And that has to happen, unfortunately, in the public. We got to decide where we are, because it appears to me from this document that there was some things offered and declined, and then there was another offer out there, it was actually an offer and accepted by our staff, but we haven't ratified it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys, I don't know any other way but to be transparent up here, and we have to talk about it, guys. Because I've heard we're not agreeing with what's presented. 100%, I don't agree with what's presented. So we're going to wait until the candidate gets back with us to give us what more?
That's not what I said. I said that allows us to see what she has to say, but it then gives our staff the opportunity to exercise the different resources that has been established via the motion that was made by Commissioner Davis. I said what she has stated is only going to give us additional thought process to what can be considered as we negotiate. So that's, and I'm going to say it, that's why I did not want to dive into any things specific so that we can. The lady is willing and ready. We just need a credible contract.
I agree with most of the conversation. I also think we have people that are competent, both to Mr. White, Ms. West, and Acting City Manager Chief Shaw. But I also respect their need, since they're going to report directly to this person, to have a little distance. I think we do have to, this is the negotiation stage. This isn't a final contract, so I think we need to give them the opportunity to work on that and respect them for what they do. I do think, though, that, again, that person that could come from the Florida League of Cities, that labor attorney, I think that's going to be necessary again, since they are going to work for this person. But time is what the candidate requested, and I think we have to honor that to move forward and accomplish this in a positive way. So, there was no motion at this point, and this was just supposed to be discussion anyway, but is there anything else anybody wants to say?
Just to clarify, it sounds like we're moving forward with the process as is. We'll hear back from the candidate, and then we will determine if the contract needs to be updated based on feedback, is what I'm hearing.
So let me ask this
And
question.
our feedback.
And also whether we
our
want to
feedback.
choose a liaison or not, that was, again, what was brought up by staff. And I'm just, again, that was a point made. And also the point was made about a labor attorney moving forward, again, to distance and give Ms. West space from a future boss in terms of making these type of decisions.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
at this, if it's acceptable, I want to ask Mr. White, is there any questions or any further clarity
want to come up, Mr. White,
that
please?
you need from this commission in order to help move this process forward?
Thank you for the time. The answer is no.
That's all.
I would 100% agree that processes are in place for improvement. 80% of companies that have issues is with the process. I respect that, I honor that, I understand that. So as me coming in brand new and fresh, the first thing that you approach are processes. So here we are in a moment where those things are becoming extremely important, and we need to establish that. So we're prepared to move forward. I think Attorney West has some information as far as the attorney that we're looking at to assist us with this process, and we're ready to move forward.
Thank you. Thank you. With that said, no further discussion? Thank you. Moving on to public hearings. Second reading, request to annex, amend future land use map and rezone 404 Mission Road. And the parcel number is 021026000006300011. Mr. Agamo.
Commissioners, since the first reading on this, this has no change. Staff continues to recommend approval and we request that you
Motion to approve?
Second.
The motion is second. Is there anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Thank you. On to B, amend future land use map and rezone 301, 281, 251, 201, and 111 North Moody Road. Property IDs number 021026772001800010, 02102677200110, 02102677200100, 021026772000300010, 0210267720001000. Mr. Agamo.
But before this is presented, Mayor,
Yes.
I noticed that on this mentions Mount Tabor. Is that First Baptist Church?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Mount Tabor?
Oh.
Is that in our packet?
I didn't see it in the packet.
Mm-hmm, it does.
It is in the packet?
The
Oh, yes,
reason-
it is in the packet.
The reason
sorry, I
I'm
did.
bringing it up, I'm a member of that
Well,
church.
let's-
I just want to,
Yeah, okay. Well,
I
let's
want
come
that
back
on the
to that,
record
and
for
let's-
this,
Yeah, let's come back to that, okay.
let's come back to it.
Well,
What do you mean?
I,
I just want to state that I'm a member of that congregation,
Okay.
and I want to make sure there's no
Oh, no,
I just want to
okay.
make that statement. Thank
Okay.
you, and get
Okay.
clear direction.
Commissioner, this is a request by the table by the church to amend the future land use map and the zoning map of approximately 9.0 acres located north of Moody Road. The future land use change would be from the city of Palatka commercial, which is designated today, to the city of Palatka residential low, and the zoning would change from the city of Palatka C1, general commercial, to the city of Palatka R1, single-family residential. This item was reviewed by the planning board on May 5th, and they recommended approval to the city commission. Staff has reviewed both applications in detail. Is staff report that is part of your package. It meets all the conditions for the future land use amendment as well as for the zoning, and staff recommends approval of both items. The
Attorney
applicant is
West.
here
Okay.
in case,
In case there are any questions.
In
Attorney
an
West,
abundance
about
of
recusing.
caution, I would like to recuse myself,
Okay,
please.
that's what I was going to, is that, and that's what I was going to ask Attorney West. Is it necessary for Commissioner Davis to recuse herself as a member of the congregation?
If she's not getting.
No.
If she's not gaining financially, and I don't
Right.
think it is, that's why
It's
I
at-
asked.
But it is at her discretion if she feels the need so,
Yeah.
but she is allowed to partake in the conversation. But it is at her discretion, but ultimately she would have the right to do so. And I know so because I took several classes with regards to that process.
That was just, we're on the Mount Tabor Church property, and Commissioner Davis has recused herself because she's a member of the congregation. Okay, just to bring you up to speed. Okay. Do we want to have the applicant come up? Is there any questions of the applicant?
Absolutely, go ahead and present.
Go ahead.
Mr. Fly,
Come up, Reverend
come on
Flag.
up.
Go ahead, come on.
Cross flag, 2601 Fairway Drive, Palatka, Florida. I'm here if the commission have questions concerning future land use as well as the zoning.
So, Mr. Fly, would it be single-family homes, or would it be commercial apartments? What they, condominiums or whatever?
Thank you, single-family residences.
Great.
Are there any additional questions?
No, I think that's great concept with affordable housing that we need in our city, in our community. That's great. I just wanted to know. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, I'd like to move forward with the motion.
Okay, let me open up the floor to public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment on this? Okay, closing public comment, motion?
I move forward that we accept the ordinance number 2026-29.
I second.
The motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody nays? I'm sorry, spitting out, no? Okay, we're moving forward, it was unanimous. C, adopt resolution 2026, you're welcome. Adopt resolution, we're all set, Reverend Flag, thank you. Adopt resolution 2026 R102, fire service assessment. Oh, you didn't put, I'm sorry. You didn't put 3 in the motion?
I make a motion that we accept the ordinance 2026-30 as well.
I
Okay.
second.
The motion is second. Any public comment? With no public comment, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Thank you. Thank you. C, adopt resolution 2026 R102, fire service assessment, annual public hearing, and annual consideration of non-ad valorem assessments to partially fund the cost of continual readiness and availability of fire protection services. Ms. Pierre.
Greetings. This is a public hearing item. This is a request to approve the necessary annual assessment resolution adopting the non-ad valorem assessment role for the fire service assessment after the City Commission listens patiently to public comment at the annual public hearing. It is important to note that if the City Commission were not to adopt the fire service assessment as proposed, it is estimated the City Commission would need to raise its property tax millage rate by 3.1 mils to fund the city's fire department, or otherwise severely cut money from its overall budget. Revenue certainty associated with the fire services assessment, as currently advertised, will greatly assist the commission and staff in finalizing the overall budget work early this summer and will be reflected in the fiscal year 2026-27 budget. By adopting the annual assessment resolution as directed and advertised, the commission will preserve the most flexible position to accomplish setting its ad valorem millage at or after the now scheduled budget-oriented commission meeting in July.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson is here if we have any questions of him.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Mr.
Come on
Lawson,
up,
could
Mr.
you come
Lawson.
up, please, and introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. Mark Lawson. May I suggest that you conduct and listen to the public first and allow me to speak after you've heard them?
Certainly. Is there anybody here for public comment on this item? Ms. Kitchens, come on up.
League Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. I hope lightning doesn't strike me, but I think I've been remiss on researching this. Are you all voting tonight on the fire assessment before the public hearing on July the 23rd when you set it in the budget? Is that what this is tonight? Are you actually setting the fire assessment fee tonight and increasing it?
I'll answer that question when the time comes, if you'd like.
Well, I need to know. Okay, I'll make my statement now. If you're going to
Yes.
increase it, the answer is no. I'm 100% against it. Leave it as it is or lower it, but do not increase it.
Thank you.
And I would hope that this would come like it's been advertised during the July budget meeting on July the 23rd, so that the public would be duly notified and that the rest of the public will have their input. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Mr. Lawson, if you could respond to that comment.
Good evening, Mark Lawson. I serve as your special counsel along with other consultants, ENED LLC, Dr. Owen Mike. The reason I interrupted, and I apologize for doing so, is I didn't want the questions to mislead and cause someone to jump to a conclusion. What you directed a few weeks ago was bring back to us the necessary information to proceed to adopt the assessment in normal course without about 136, 138 exemptions, so that later this summer you could lower it if you choose, when you know how much money you're going to be able to generate with not only this assessment, but also the data that the tax collector yields up, so you can figure out how to do your budget. So the question I thought was posed, are you raising the assessments tonight? No, you are not. What you're doing is you're adopting an assessment resolution tonight that sets those assessments at the same rates that you set 10 plus years ago. What you are doing, and you did direct, and I helped make sure that we followed that, I talked to all the appropriate staff members to get concurrence, is you took out of the equation what you've done for several years, and that is the 50% transition exemption rate, where you charge certain types of properties, primarily institutional properties, which include churches and other institutional properties that are typically tax exempt. Some are not, but they're institutional characterization, at only a 50% rate. That costs you $96,000 in change. My understanding of the decision was, hey, let's wait before we commit to give away $96,000 until July, when we get sort of the rollback information, so we can know how to balance our budget. It's hard to do that. Point of fact, your assessment only funds, I don't have the figures at my fingertips, but it's a percentage of your fire department. The rest is funded with your ad valorem taxes. And for some of you who were here when you originally did this, this kept you from sliding into financial crisis and helped you build reserves. I need not repeat that history. So tonight, what you have in front of you is an advertised public hearing. The preliminary roll is on the website. Compliments to Ms. Greta Hall for helping get that website cleaned up. I didn't realize the difficulty. That is an important piece of information where your constituents can go and see the preliminary roll. It's been there, it's there. They can look at every potential preliminary assessment. It does show those 136 or 38, I'm sorry, I get confused with the number, parcels that had been charged a 50% exemption rate previously at the full rate. It never ceases to amaze me when I do this work that I come to a meeting thinking I'm fully prepared, and I'm on the iPhone calling one of my consultants and saying, get me this information. Please remember that your assessment is done to be equitable and proportionate. And you have a final judgment. The Supreme Court has said, as of late as last December, that what you did was correct and had substantial evidence, but on another case said, and after you've done that, everything connected therewith is forever conclusive. My view is you're on solid legal ground because you have a proportionate and fair assessment. What occurred to me 30 minutes ago was, of those 136 parcels, who gets what? I usually don't care. My job is to make sure that this is dispersed equitably, proportionally, based upon two things. A charge per parcel, which is everybody, no matter of size, physical characterization, otherwise that sops up fixed costs, and paying for part of the variable cost of availability of service. Your chief will tell you that's what you do here is you provide availability of service, not random fire call responses, constant availability of service. It's expensive. That second tier is based upon the improvement value on every parcel, and it's as simple as just value minus land value done by a third party who's charged with doing that and is pulled off the Department of Revenue site. There's where your proportionality comes in. The point I want to make to you tonight is your staff did what you were told to do, what they were told to do. You have a role that's capable of being adopted. It will not allow for the 50% exemption. And what I determined on a phone call and some emails back and forth, that of that $96,000, 15 parcels received $56,000 of the benefit. You should know that fact, and that fact should be brought more to the fore for you all to understand between now and July, when you have the full amount of information concerning what your taxes will yield. The point made earlier, if you don't do the assessment, you get rid of it. Whatever your millage is last year, add 3.1 to that, and that's not a pleasant number. I felt it important to tell you that because it occurred to me, I try not to get into who's winners and losers, but you need to know that because you're going to have folks that participate in your community and do great service that are the owners of institutional properties. Remember what an assessment does. It helps pay for a property's benefits received or burdens relieved. Just as you own a home and you need to pay your fair share, just as Publix owns a building and they need to pay their fair share, and both of you have to pay fire insurance or casualty insurance, so does an institutional property, whether it's a small storefront church through their lease or a larger, more traditional community church. Everybody has costs that have to be paid. So what I would suggest to you tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I like to do that. I enjoy people. I enjoy your commission in particular. I watched your work tonight. You really worked hard. It's a lot of difficult issues. I want to be able to help you, but the plan is, at your direction, adopt the resolution tonight. Allow it to pass and sit for 20 or 30 days. There's a legal reason that's good for that. And then when you have more data this summer and you know how much money you're going to get by estimate of the property appraiser tax collector and what your people can do with the budget, you can better balance what to do with those assessments. By doing what this resolution says to do tonight, and that is it takes away the assessments. It charges everybody. You can always change that at that meeting at a later date. You don't need another public hearing to do it. It gives you the most ability to be flexible while you deal with your budget, and it allows you to address the entirety of how much you can fund with that budget. And to the question just asked, will the rates be raised? No. If it is to be raised, there'll need to be another published hearing with a different rate set. Sorry for so many words, but I hope I've conveyed the circumstance.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on Mr. Lawson?
No.
No?
No, but a comment though.
Go ahead, Commissioner Barr.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right about that in what our finance director did mention, that if we did not set the current rate to what it is right now or adopt what we have, that we would have to add 3.1 mills, and that would put us back higher than we were 2015 at 91478. That would put us at 9.3 mills. And again, we already know you cap at 10, and so you would severely limit your ability to raise any fund for infrastructure, capital improvement, or anything else. And so going back, the fire fee helped us from having to be able to balance our budget, because prior to, they only had $400,000 somewhere in that period to be able to balance, for reserves, and that's not even 2 months. So this thing helped us out. We were supposed to back it out over a few years period, but somehow that didn't happen. But we cannot not approve what we currently have tonight.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Do we have, anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Nay, we have a nay. Okay, thank you.
And I'm available to talk to any of you individually if you'd like. I try to perform a good service, but I don't make the policy decisions.
Thank you. And thank you for coming out tonight. With that said, any commissioner comments?
I got some quick
Go ahead,
things just to
Commissioner
kind of
Boyle.
say and get out of here. I was out last Thursday for the special call meeting or what have you. So I was recognized at the Northeast Florida League of Cities for being a home rule hero again once for the 6th year in a row. So that's why my absence was last week. The prior miss, I was at the National League of Cities conference. And I know there's a lot of things that people are talking around the city, the county, and the country, for that fact, about data centers. And so while data centers, it may not be on the city's radar, we need to put it on there, because a lot of cities and counties are being impacted by these things where data centers are showing up. I mean, they're coming in, they're getting approvals, but people don't realize the very, very demand that put on your electrical grid as well as your water consumption. Those two things would cripple cities as it relates to that. We've had a number, and I'm going to give you this and let you go. Fort Meade, which we had a former city manager that used to be here, is down there. They're dealing with that very same thing right now as it relates to people approaching them, small communities, targeting our small communities, and providing, supposedly, when they presenting jobs, but those jobs also come with a hefty cost. So we have to do our due diligence in making sure that we provide what our community need. We've already been in a water drought for a period of time. So we just want to make sure that we step through this whole thing and make sure that we are doing our due diligence and due care.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Mayor, I do want to go ahead. For the City of Palatka Summer Safety Summit, I do want to recognize our sponsors, because we did have quite a few, so if you guys will indulge me. But the Douglas Law Firm, Palatka Athletic League, Community Hands of Hope, the Pilot Club of Palatka, McGibbonConsulting.com, Sheffield Family Properties, Best Party Rental, James A. Long Elementary, Putnam County School District, Palatka Police Department, City of Palatka Community Affairs, the Palatka Fire Department, Putnam County Aquatics, the American Red Cross, the Florida Department of Transportation, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and the Class of 76. And I want to say that because, you know, we take care of so much business, but we do have a lot of community support, and I just want to thank all of these community partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Just really quick, as an educator, we have we are now at the point of graduation and promotion season. So I want to extend a congratulations to all of the graduates of Putnam County, City of Palatka. We honor them as student of the month on a monthly basis, but from this commission, I wish them a congratulations on graduation, and those that are being promoted to the next grade, and may this next step of life be one of the best steps that you have ever taken. So again, congratulations, class of 2026, from pre-K all the way to college.
Is there any other comments?
All minds are clear. I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
All mine might not be clear.